Hey guys, how are you doing? Today I'm going to be talking about quality versus quantity when it comes to KDP and publishing low content books. It is a question that's frequently asked, and I just wanted to share my own experience. For example, how much I've made with my top 10 books, how many books I have in total, how many books I've never sold, and other stuff like that. How many books do you publish in a single day? When I very first started, I did upload a bunch of books, probably about 100 in the first few months. And a lot of those were notebooks and things like that, and they were things that I didn't particularly put much effort into researching. They were a lot of designs that I already had from Merch by Amazon, which is another print-on-demand platform. At the time, I was doing merch much more than I am now, and so I did have a bunch of designs, and those were some of the first books I ever sold. They were just merch designs basically on notebooks. I was more just trying to get books up. However, in that first few months, I also uploaded some lower content books. So not just lines, but things like journals and planners, logbooks and that kind of stuff. And I had a couple of those just take off. And I kind of did a pivot then from notebooks to doing books with a bit more content in them. And over time, I've created more books with a higher level of content. In the beginning, I would be creating several books a day, I would guess. Looking back, I know I was working pretty solidly for quite a long time. Once I could see what was working, I tried to take longer over each book, create books with more content in them, and just slow down really. And now I've got to a point where I'm just maintaining things. I've got one book that I've been working on this whole month, and it's just about to be ready. So hopefully I will publish that before the end of this month. So I wanted to show you my royalties from September 2019 to May 2022 up to this point. And as you can see, it's over $127,000 that has steadily kind of gone up quite steeply in the first year. As you can see, this was showing from 2015, but that's just because that's actually when I set up my KDP account initially. This is from where I started low content, which was in 2019. As you can see, I have 556 books, and that is the amount of books I've published on Amazon altogether. It's not the amount that are live right now. There's a bit less than that because I had deleted some over time. So these are my royalties from my top 10 books. They're top selected books. In total, those top 10 books have made over $92,000. That's still over $30,000 that wasn't in the top 10, but that's still a huge proportion that are just from 10 books alone. But volume can count too. You can have a good selection of books that are maybe only bringing in $10 a month or $5 a month. But if you have enough of those books, then actually they end up adding up to a large amount. I'm not telling you to go on Amazon and spam the system with like thousands of books. Especially, I'm not talking about doing the same book design in multiple different colors or, different names or different birthdays and stuff like that. Like, I don't think you should do that at all. Obviously, it is harder now because there are so many books out there and yours really do have to stand out. But I think there is an element of you do need to create a certain amount to kind of gain some traction with it. That's not always the case. I'm sure some people have got great success from having 10 books and that's it on KDP. For sure that has happened, but is it likely? No, it's incredibly unlikely that you will publish 10 books and that there will be a success. Of course it does happen, but in a way, it ends up that you kind of stumble upon things by trying stuff out, by trial and error, by experimenting with different types of designs, different niches. Sometimes something will just work when you least expect it. I've gone into something and I've not thought that it's going to work out at all. Not had high hopes for it, and some of those end up being the best sellers. I have over 500 books. 200 books have never sold a single copy. Not one, nothing, zero, zilch. Yeah. 200. This did take me a bit of time. Obviously, some of these books did take me some time and energy. I just wonder how many hours and days and months that actually took. But anyway, maybe don't think about that. A bulk of those are going to be from the notebooks that I published originally, with the merch designs that I just kind of churned out. And I did also churn out a bunch of other notebooks over time, not that were particularly well researched at all, but just things that I wanted to do because I felt like it, and I just wanted to try something. Never underestimate the power of just experimenting. And if you're a creative person, go with some of the things that you want to do as well. Don't just kind of be a slave to keyword research tools and niche research. Go with things that you have a knowledge or an interest or a passion in. You want to understand the audience that you are approaching. But if you look at it another way, this is the positive aspect. That's the positive side. Over 300 of my books have sold at least a copy. So, yeah, okay, 200 didn't, but look, 300 of them have sold at least one. And just to note that the majority of the books that haven't sold were just plain notebooks. I do have some notebooks that sell, and I do still create the odd notebook if I feel like it. But I've got a couple of books that I worked on for weeks, if not months, and one in particular that I'd really hoped was going to do well, and it did not do well. But it was in a really oversaturated area, very highly competitive, and I made the mistake of thinking that I could just get a few sales, get the reviews, and then boost that book up in the algorithm and end up getting sales naturally and blah, blah, blah. It's just about having a visibility, and I think that's the problem sometimes is a lot of people might be graphic designers and they might have great ideas, but if you go into a really oversaturated area that's just too highly competitive, you're not going to get that visibility to begin with, and you'll have to spend a huge amount of money on ads in order to get it if you are in a space where there are lots of traditionally published books. I mean, I did get lucky that earlier on I had some books that took off. But what if they didn't? What happened to me is I think I had about 100 books and I started to gain traction with several of those. And so I could kind of figure out by that point what was working and what wasn't a bit better. I guess that a lot of people don't get those sales initially, or maybe they have far, far fewer than that. They maybe have 10 books, 20 books that have only sold a few copies here and there, and they just think, what's the point? But those sales do add up. So I think that quality and quantity are both important when it comes to KDP. They both have their role. Not everyone will agree with me, I don't think, but I do think it's a bit of a balancing act. And in the beginning, you might just need to put more books out there because you're still learning, and you're not just learning. Maybe you're a graphic designer, but you need to learn about what niches to go into and what niches are working and which are just too competitive or saturated and so on. Or maybe you're not great at graphic design, but you're good at the research aspect, and then you need to hire a designer or just get better at that aspect of it. It's true that Amazon is a different place than when I started, but that said, I do think there is still opportunity there for sure. So what's your experience with it? Do you think quantity or quality is more important? And how many books do you upload a day? Please don't say 500 or something. Yeah, do you upload every day? Or is it more like every week, every month? Let me know in the comments. And if you like videos like this and are interested in KDP, then please don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you can get notified whenever I upload a new video, which is about once a week. I hope you found this video useful, and I will speak to you again very soon.